भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गौ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। समेत भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग की जय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 10, entitled Divisions of the Creation. Text 10. Vidura uvacha yatatha bahurupasya harer adbhuta karmanaha कालाख्यम लक्षणम ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयः नः प्रभो। विदुर उवाच यथार्थ बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयन् प्रभो। विदुर उवाच यथार्थ बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयन् प्रभो। विदुर उवाच यथार्थ बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयन् प्रभो। विदुर उवाच यथार्थ बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयन् प्रभो। Word meanings. Vidura uvacha, Vidura said, yatha, as, atha, you have said, bahurupasya, having varieties of forms, harehe, of the Lord, adbhuta, wonderful, karmanaha, of the actor, kala, time, akhyam, of the name, lakshanam, symptoms, brahman, O learned brahmana, yatha, as it is. Varnayaha, please describe. Naha, unto us. Prabho, O Lord. Translation. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O my Lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. Purport. The complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities, beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universe itself, and all is under the control of the Supreme Lord in his form of Kala, or eternal time. The controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. There is a time for atomic dissolution and a time for universal dissolution. There is a time for the annihilation of the body of the human being, and there is a time for the annihilation of the universal body. Also, growth, development, and resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidura wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilations. Hare Krishna. Vidura uvacha yathatta bahurupasya hareradbhuta karmanah kalakyam lakshanam brahman yatha varnaya na prabho. So this verse begins with yathatta, means as you have said. Where he has said. We'll have some interactive session. In the 5th verse, that word Kala Krata Virena Kampitam word comes there. Tad Vilokhyabja, this is 5th verse of the same chapter. Tad Vilokhyabja Sambhuto Vayuna Yadadhishtitaha Padmam Ambhascha Tatkala Kritaviryena Kampitam. Thereafter Brahma saw that both the lotus on which he was situated and the water on which the lotus was growing were trembling due to a strong, violent wind. If you see the translation, Prabhupada doesn't include anything related with time actually here. Thereafter Brahma saw that both the lotus on which he was situated and the water on which the lotus was growing were trembling due to a strong, violent wind. Actually, this word Kala Krita Viryena Kampitam, that word Kala Krita is connected with that wind. So basically it is wind at the time of Pralaya. So very heavy wind. So at the time of Pralaya, dissolution. So now Vidura, he is reminding Maitreya that you pointed out about this, time of dissolution. So now you please tell about that. Therefore, in this purport, you see Prabhupada again and again uses the word dissolution, 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 again and again. And which is also, this word Lakshanam comes in this verse. Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman, which is also a Lakshana of the time. It's not only at the time of dissolution, so such wind blows or anything. Constantly time is always killing, destroying. So basically time has a destructive nature. Now if you see time, this concept has come to being as a riddle in modern science, although they heavily used it in many applications of science. But presently, there is one scientist now whose name is Robert Lanza. He is very famous in all over the world as a great scientist presently. He has a new theory called biocentrism. That biocentrism means life is center of the creation. That's what his concept is. That we are telling since time immemorial. Supreme life, Krishna is the center of everything. Anyway, they are slowly coming towards what we are discussing, but they will not be able to come just by empirical means. Anyway, according to him, time doesn't exist. So somewhat it is that biocentrism is somewhat like Buddhism, somewhat like Mayavad, that this world is mithya. So it has, means any speculator can come to Mayavad and can come to Buddhist conclusions. Although not everything in Mayavad and Buddhism is also speculation, because Buddhism also derives a lot from Vedic science. Anyway, it is one of the riddles, and ultimately all modern science is going, empirical science is going to end up in riddles only. Because their approach that empiricism is absolute is a basic fundamental mistake. So coming back to time, in Bhagavad Gita, time is described in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, and in 11th chapter more elaborately. So in 10th chapter, Krishna speaks that Aham evakshaya kalo, I am inexhaustible time, he says. Basically that means time is eternal. And time is, so basically we understand two things. I am inexhaustible time means time is eternal and time is representative of Krishna. You may understand that as energy of Krishna, or it's another form of Krishna. So now, there in the Purport Prabhupada, he speaks, among all the killers, time is very powerful. What he says at 10.33. So, time kills everyone and everything. Yeah, among all kinds of killers, time is ultimate because time kills everything. Time is representative of Krishna because in due course of time there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. What is this? In due course of time there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. What he is writing about, in due course of time there will be fire. If someone who is trained in modern science, or those who are not acquainted with the Vedic knowledge, what they will think this line if they read. In due course of time there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. What he mean by this? Actually, Prabhupada says like this. What he is speaking about. If you read 12th canto of Bhagavatam, you will come to know. There is discussion about 4 kinds of pralayas. This is final total pralaya actually. So, first there will be fire. There it is described that from the mouth of Ananta Shesha, the fire will emanate and it will roast everything in the universe. And then there will be heavy rainfall and everything will be dissolved. pralaya jala. So that is what Prabhupada is telling here. In due course of time there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated, he says. Actually here, if you see the verse itself, it doesn't... one point before we go to that point. In this verse which we are reading today in Srimad Bhagavatam, again wherever he takes, if you see translation and purport, whenever he takes time, he gives one, what you call, adjective, eternal, 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 again and again, again and again. He always used eternal as adjective to time actually. O my Lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time. The verse itself doesn't say like that. You can see always Prabhupada links, his translations, purports with Bhagavad Gita. Because one of the things which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita among the 5 topics is time is eternal, karma is temporary. So, kindly describe eternal time. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Again and again, eternal, eternal, eternal. So basically from aham eva akshayo kalo, akshaya kala. Akshaya means inexhaustible, which never ends, which never wants out. So like that. So in this way, so he speaks about Kala means eternal time. Time, not just time, eternal time. So that eternity is discussed there in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And its destructive nature is discussed in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So there are many verses which describe. In 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna showed universal form. Here in this verse, Yathatta Bahurupasya Hare Adbhuta Karmana Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayo Na Prabho. Bahurupa also means it's a universal form actually. So I'll come back to that point, Bahurupa word. So there Krishna showed universal form in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And then part of that universal form is also Kala Rupa. Description of Kala Rupa. Sanjaya very elaborately described what he saw or what Arjuna saw. And he became... So we will not be able to cover all those verses now. Kala Rupa. So approximately from which verse number to which maybe 17, 18 verse onwards. So up to 33rd verse. So he speaks about, he reveals his Kala Rupa. And towards the end of this section, Arjuna, basically Arjuna saw that Kala Rupa and he became very scared. So, and then he asked Krishna that, who are you? So, who are you? He said. Akya hime ko bhavanugra rupo namastute deva vara prasida vidnyatum ichchami bhavantam adyam nahi prajanami tava pravritim. So I want to, so it's he says that vidnyatum ichchami bhavantam adyam. So nahi prajanami tava pravritim. I am not able to understand what is your purpose, what is your mission is pravritim. So like that he says, I want to know you, who are you? Then Lord Krishna in response to that, he says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalokshaya Loka Krat Pravriddho Lokan Samahurtam Iha Pravrittaha Rate Pitwamna Bhavishanti Sarve Yevastita Pratyanikeshu Yodhaha. Kalosmi Loka Kshaya Krat Pravriddho. Time I am. the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. Who is that one scientist I heard after Oppenheimer? He quoted, it seems, this verse. It seems in 19th century, early 20th century, there was a lot of Bhagavad Gita study among the very prominent thinkers in the West also. So like it is said, Albert Einstein used to study Bhagavad Gita. So anyway, the point is, it's good that he is Krishna conscious. That person who quoted this verse is in some way, because that's what Krishna says throughout Bhagavad Gita. You should know me through all the powerful things here, my powerful representations in the material world. So atom bomb is one of the powerful things in modern days. It represents Krishna. Anything extraordinary in this world represents Krishna. Everything is Krishna, but just to understand that he is not an ordinary being. So what Bhagavad Gita is doing? So basically trying to convince us that Krishna is not an ordinary living entity. Because general tendency in this world, whenever you speak of God also, they think God in their own terms or in their own, they try to measure like that. That Nyaya is there, Kupa Manduka Nyaya, in terms of their own circumstances. So that is a general tendency. So like for example, scientists, after studying the complexity of this nature, the world and physical nature, they should arrive that there should be intelligent designer behind this. But they cannot accommodate that idea, because how can there be so supremely intelligent being who can create so much complexity? So that very famous word is irreducible complexity is one of the scientific words. So irreducible complexity means is basically cannot be complexity cannot be done by an ordinary human being. So but they think they think of God, he should be okay, he may be a little more powerful than it, but how can he be so supremely powerful? That idea is very difficult to accommodate. Therefore so then Krishna has to tell that I am not an ordinary being. So he is trying to convince through in Bhagavad Gita that I am supremely extraordinary. So anything extraordinary in this world all represents me. So anyway, the point here is, so the destructive feature is described in this 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So eternity of time is described in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And destructive nature is described in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Loka kshaya krad pravriddho. Lokan samahartum iha pravrittaha. So pravrittim, tava pravrittim. Arjuna had said that what is your mission actually? So my mission is to destroy everything, he says. I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. Lokan samahartum iham pravrittaha. So basically in Kurukshetra everyone was destroyed except these 5 Pandavas and few others. No one came back. Rate pitvam na bhavishanti sarve eva sthita pratyanikeshu yodaha. So rate pitvam, except you people, means Pandavas, 5 Pandavas. Their own sons also, 5 Upa-Pandavas, they were also destroyed. So rate pitvam na bhavishanti sarve eva sthitaha pratyanikeshu yodaha. So all the soldiers on both the sides will be slain. So Prabhupada elaborates that all devouring form of Supreme Lord called time in the in the purport. So this is the destructive nature of time, which is described in Bhagavad Gita. Now, so eternity of time, time is always eternal. It could be logically also understood, eternity of time. Many times I have explained that how it's not so difficult to understand time is cyclical in nature. Like day and night are changing, seasons are changing, but changing means they again come back, right? So that is a influence of rotational time. Or now in modern science they have difference of opinion. One, basically Newton believed, because he is a Christian priest, so it's a age-old Christian dogma that how time goes from one point to another point. So even Greeks believed in cyclical time. Then this Christianity came into power. So at around, not exactly at the time of Jesus Christ. At the time of Jesus Christ, no one knew Jesus actually. So they were just a small group. So later his followers, they preached extensively. So after 400 years it came, they changed the whole thing. So one of the Saint Augustine, he brought in the idea of progressive time as progressive factor, going from one point to another point. Time and civilization are progressive. That's why the present most dominating idea that we are all making progress, development, all this bogus ideas, old Christian idea it is. Because in Puranic description or Vedic worldview, we are in Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is most degrading, exactly opposite worldview. Now the present worldview is that we are making progress, and the exact opposite worldview is we are degrading, we are more worst of all possible worlds. Kali Yuga is worst of all possible worlds. And more is going to happen. So then even Newton believed that time is goes from one point to another point, and gradually they came to the point that time begins after Big Bang and ends in black hole. So from one point to another point, like that. But actually Einstein gave a different idea. Time moves in one line also, and also it contracts. So that is his idea of time. So now they have come to the point there is no time. Anyway, so here in the purport, like now we were discussing about, now I just pointed out Einstein's conception of idea. So here we, in the purport, if you see, Prabhupada speaks about relativity of time. So Vidura Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman. I want to know the symptom, Lakshanam, nature of time. So now this chapter title is Divisions of Creation. So creation is divided. Like previous verses we discussed that why there is varieties of creation. Because to accommodate desires of living entities, different desires of living entities, and their to the extent they can deserve also. Deserve means according to our karma. So we are given different facilities in the material world. So therefore there are varieties of creation. And in fact here in the purport Prabhupada he says, the complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities beginning from atoms up to the gigantic universe itself, and all is under control of the Supreme Lord in his form of Kal or eternal time. And time controls everything, material nature. Because if you read in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada speaks about karma. Karma is the governing principle, law of karma in the material world. All the activities of human beings are controlled by karma. And karma is also linked with, law of karma is linked with these varieties of creation also. Because according to karma, like I mentioned, desires and deserving, So you are accommodated in different parts of the universe, different creations. So, but then above karma there is time. So Prabhupada, he defined karma very philosophically in introduction to Bhagavad Gita. He says, under the purview of time, what is that? The interactions of three modes. I am just forgetting that statement. So karma is, he defines what he says. Something like that, So that's.
And by these modes there is eternal time, and by combination of these modes of nature and under the control and purview of eternal time, there are activities which are called.
So once more you read the last part of the statement. Under
the control and purview of eternal time, there are activities which are called karma.
No, modes also is there, no?
By a combination of these modes.
Yeah. By the combination of the modes under the purview of eternal time, there is activities called karma, like that he says. So you see how he defines, because karmas are carried out according to modes of nature, but the modes of nature themselves are agitated by time actually. Like now in Kali Yuga, mode of ignorance prevails everywhere. So everything is connected. All the activities are ignorant, fully ignorant. People's consciousness, thought process, everything is full of ignorance. You can see the typical how manifestation of ignorance in modern society. So, what is a symptom of ignorance? So, Prabhupada, it's a peculiar mode of ignorance. Prabhupada, he defines it's a peculiar symptom, characteristics, he says. In the peculiar means, why it is peculiar? Because everything opposite conclusion they come, those who are in mode of ignorance. So comfort is discomfort, discomfort is comfort, progress and digress. So like that actually. So this whole idea of that we are making progress, actually we are degrading. If you see, if any sane man, if a little bit intelligent, everything is spoiled. No good water, no good food, no good air. But unfortunately, people think that we are making progress. So this is peculiar symptom of characteristics of mode of ignorance. Anyway, time is above and it controls everything. Kala, proper control of the Supreme Lord in his form of Kala, or eternal time. So the controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. So this point here we come to the point of relativity of time. So now according to the divisions of creation, so this chapter is divisions of creation. So time, dimension of time also it is different. It is. So sometime Prabhupada would explain actually. Ant also lives 100 years and we also live 100 years, but ant's 100 years and our 100 years is different. That means within this world also the division of time is completely different. It is. What to speak of? Different realms, physical realms. So different lokas. So there is time for atomic dissolution and a time for universal dissolution. So now again and again annihilation, dissolution, annihilation. So time. So this one, even our Mr. Einstein also tried to understand this relativity of time. Famous, he has general relativity of time and special relativity of time. Time dilation. So these are theories of time dilation and special relativity of time are one only. So he just by his imagination he tried to understand that. So he was just a clerk. He was not a means being a scientist was not the main occupation of Einstein. Actually, he was just a clerk in one office, and every day when he would go back from his office, he would sit and imagine and speculate and try to understand the universal laws and etc. One day when he was going back from his office in his trump car, those days they used to have these trump cars. So and there was when that car started, there was a clock there, You know those clocks they build big buildings and on the top they will put on clock. So then sitting in trump card, he started imagining that if this car travels with the speed of light, then the clock will stop actually. Basically, influence of time will stop on that entity. So like that he tried to imagine, and of course his understanding of relativity time is not complete, and here in Bhagavatam we see that so everything very systematically discussed. And famous example, whenever we speak about relativity of time, we give, what is the famous example? Huh? Balram? Balram. He is looking at Revati Vallabh Prabhu is sitting here. Anyway, that was King. Brahma Mohan Leela is another famous example. Like that, in Bhagavatam there are many places. There is a lot, and here this chapter is the main for that actually. Means this chapter explains philosophically. They give some historical narration later. So like that you will find a lot in Bhagavatam. We are not going to, like I said, I will not discuss about the form Kala Rupa from Bhagavad Gita. We are not going to cover every place where this relativity of time is discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. So basically, Kukudmi is just few verses in 9th canto of Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter. So some 5-6 verses discuss this example of Kukudmi, because the dynasty of that king Revata and all that was going on there. Description of Vamshavali is one of the topics in Bhagavatam. So Kukudmi, he went with his daughter Revati to Brahma Loka, and he asked Brahma, who is a suitable bride groom for this my daughter, like that he asked. But Brahma was not able to hear what he was speaking, because Brahma was busy with Gandharvas were dancing and singing in Brahma's place. So he was enjoying there, Brahma. Then when everything finished, then again Kukudmi asked Brahma, who is a suitable? Then Brahma started laughing. So it was not just for a few moments there in Brahma Loka. Then he said that already 27 Manvantaras have passed now, like that. No, 27 Mahayugas have passed, he says. So now 28th, what is that? 28th Yuga, 28th Mahayuga is going on. Mahayuga means cycle of 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali Yuga. So in 7th Manvantara, that means he went there in the beginning of 7th Manvantara. So after 27 cycles, so Brahma said 27 cycles, and all those people whom you had in your mind for your daughter, they all have finished now, they have gone now, they have vanished in the time. Kala. Then, so anyway, there is Balaram, who has appeared with the Supreme Lord. So one point there is, it's for Balaram book, it is an important quote actually, whose plenary portion is Lord Vishnu. Deva Devamsha word comes there actually. Whose plenary portion. Instead of saying that Balaram is a plenary portion of Lord Vishnu, it says that whose plenary portion is Lord Vishnu. So Deva Devamsha, he has appeared there to reduce the burden of the world. He is a suitable. So that one, few verses, 2-3 verses are very important for Gaudiya's understanding of Balaram. So Balaram is not actually plenary portion of. In fact, other sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, they consider him as Jiva Tattva. So we don't even. He is not just an Vishnu Tattva. He is Vishnu Tattva in the sense he is not an expansion of Vishnu actually. Vishnu is expansion of Balaram. So therefore he is called as Moola Sankarshana. So anyway, Kukudmi was told by Brahma that you can go and give him. So basically the point is that so many millions of years passed. So passed in which is it was just a moment in Brahma Loka. So in Brahma Vimohan Leela also, for few seconds, Brahma took them away. But here already 1 year had passed. So 1 complete year had passed. So in this way, relativity of time is discussed here. Some say that actually he stole it from Bhagavad Gita. Although all these stories are there about Einstein and all. Einstein stole it from Bhagavad Gita, but that is another. Of course, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he correlated. He quoted one scholar from West, his contemporary scholar, so who had done research that all these Greek philosophers, they were followers of different branches of Shad Darshana. So he particularly mentions there, Pluto was follower of Sankhya, like that. I forgot actually. So that's another, because knowledge, Veda means knowledge, and Prabhupada defines Veda as aggregate knowledge. If there is anywhere knowledge, that should be Veda, or outside Veda there is no knowledge. So anywhere you think some knowledge is there, it is going from Vedic only. It is Vedic only. So, and in recent history also we can discuss this point of how Arabians used to come here for business. So, like in the West there were no numbers until Arabians, they gave numbers. Romans were there. Roman numbers we have. So anyway, the point is that Arabians also contributed a lot in the mathematics in the Western, if you see Western history. So, but Arabians, they used to come to India, and many Vedic Sanskrit literature were translated into Arabic. So like that you can link that, how knowledge is going from India to, means ultimately Veda is the knowledge, point is. So relativity of time also, this is discussed here. So there is time for atomic dissolution and time for universal dissolution. There is time for annihilation of the body of the human being, and there is time for annihilation of the universal body. So in essence, what? Creation, maintenance and dissolution is all controlled by time, it is. So time agitates different modes, and different modes act. It is not just okay, now time is there, somebody just destroys it. It's not like that actually. It works in between, via media is three modes of material nature. So when time agitates mode of goodness, then there will be maintenance, sustain. So if anything has to sustain, then the mode of goodness has to be there. And if anything has to be created, the mode of passion, so that is agitated by time, when time agitates mode of passion, there will be a lot of creation. So now you see this whole Western knowledge is actually, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna 18th chapter, he speaks knowledge in three modes of material nature. So now he says mode of passion. Knowledge in mode of passion always produces too many theories actually. So you can see that how Western knowledge is what? Western science is ending up in this mode of passion actually. And all their inventions, these are all come under this mode of passion actually. And ignorance, of course, ultimately dominated by ignorance in Kali Yuga. So in essence, creation, maintenance and dissolution is controlled by time. And another point here is division of time is according to division of creation. That we have to. So now from next verse onwards, now Maitreya is going to discuss this point, division of time. So division of time is according to division of creation. That point. So in coming verses it will become more clearer. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any question? Comments? That word Bahurupasya, I said it is universal form. Like here in the 11th chapter, 32nd verse, first line purport you see. Although Arjuna knew that Krishna was his friend and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was puzzled by various forms exhibited by Krishna. So, universal form is also called Bahurupa. Here various forms of some commentators translate like that. Okay, any questions? No questions, no comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki. You wanted to comment something? Revati Vallapu. Huh?
Sometime back I read something. I wanted to ask, but I could not find that.
Regarding?
Time.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.